Control Warrior versus Control Warrior.
Yeah, you thought last game was long. Strap in, boys.
Yeah.
Because game number 5 is live at the moment, and we have Armor Up versus Armor Up.
Buckle up, get your popcorn ready. And tea?
Popcorn and tea. That's America's favorite combination.
Yes.
Every time I go to the movies, I go, you know what? Give me a popcorn, some junior mints,
In a hot, steaming cup of tea.
That's the great way to relax afterwards and go home and go straight to sleep. Is just chowing down on a bunch of sugar and pouring about 400 milligrams of caffeine down the gullet.
Well, give me a lot of armor.
I'm still just completely blown away by NT. Justicar Trueheart is, I think, by far the most important card in this matchup. And I don't think there's any question about it. In my experience, the player who plays Justicar Trueheart first in the Control Warrior matchups has a major advantage. The armor it's cumulative, and when you get to those 50 armor points, it's difficult for your opponent to ever fight what the potential is.
Well, also, there also is another scenario where one player has Justicar in their deck and the other doesn't. And there's a lot of arguments for that, and a lot of times what Control Warrior versus Control Warrior comes down to is threat for threat. And whatever card you replace Justicar with can sometimes make a huge difference in the matchup, a big enough difference to where your opponent playing Justicar Trueheart could be one of the reasons why you're able to beat them. There's a lot of Control players that don't like Justicar, and they think that not having Justicar in the mirror, but having a different threat in place of it is a better way to go. But it depends on what you replace with it. If you put like a Bash instead of a Justicar Trueheart, bad. But if you put in something like an Emperor Thorsan, or even a bigger threat, like if you didn't have Ysera before,
for instance,
and put in Ysera then, or Nefarian, yeah, sometimes that can be a huge difference in the matchup. So
I'm actually that's actually sort of an interesting thing that you brought up, because in my experience with it, I have only spoken to people who have favored Justicar Trueheart. I would actually really like to see some games played out where one player has a major threat potential with that additional gigantic slot, and the other player has a Justicar Trueheart who actually does win out in that spot.
Yeah, well, I don't have enough games of sample size to say it. There was
that's a tough one to figure out.
The American Championship, the off-stream match for 5th place for the alternate spot for BlizzCon was played between VLPS and Correa. Correa running Justicar Trueheart in his Control Warrior and VLPS not, and VLPS won.
How deep was the Justicar Trueheart? Was it kind of like 25-ish?
He did get to play it in the match. That's all I can say.
So TJ's not at liberty to release any further details under penalty of death.
What is that guy? Why does he have an axe? The toughest choice.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't think anyone wants to kill an armor smith. It's like you never want to. You're like, it's a 1/4. I would ideally like to never have to kill a 1/4. But if I'm going to do it, what do I do it with? Do I do it with the Deathbite, or do I do it with the Fiery War Axe? Yeah. So I think setting up the Deathbite into stuff like Sludge Belcher, maybe even something like another Armor Smith. Lots of things come into account when you're thinking about how this Deathbite charge lineup. It's not just as simple as Fiery War Axe deals 3, Armor Smith is at 3, use Fiery War Axe instead.
Yeah.
It's about thinking about how this affects the future turns. And so this allows him to gain tempo with stuff like this Shield Bearer, and also at the same time contest more future threats, contest Sylvanas, contest Shield Bearer. A lot of things come into account right here, and that's what they were thinking about that turn. It wasn't just a matter of should we Deathbite or not, it was which play affects us 2 turns down the road.
Yeah. Now the good thing about this matchup is we can really compare the hero powers side by side. Really get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, one of them is 2 and the other one is 4. So 4 is better.
I'm talking about Garrosh versus Magni.
Oh. It's like a grab almost.
Yeah. Whereas Magni's, we'll hear it in a moment. No, we won't, because Dr. Boom's going to be played.
You don't always play it that quickly, though. This matchup, you play that guy, it's oftentimes about armoring up.
Yep.
They are going to go with Dr. Boom, though. It is a pretty sizable threat in this position. You know, your opponent doesn't have the armor to shield slam it right away, and I think that's really the big difference here. Because, you know, if Simon Fraser was staring at like an 8 armor Garrosh or a 6 armor Garrosh, I think they would hesitate on this a little bit more.
Yeah. Now, a lot of times, putting out the big threats first is not the way you win the Control Warrior mirror matchup. Because your opponent is able to use their removal efficiently and effectively, as long as they have it, and you're not using your armor up. Whereas you get to the end, your opponent is playing their big threats.
Well, that's a disaster.
Oh, yikes!
Yeah, this game might have just taken a very quick turn for the worse here. UCLA brawls. Dr. Boom wins the brawl.
And that's a Garrosh hell scream.
Yeah, there's some major backup here.
They're going to go on the aggressive. I mean,
that's a pretty darn big signal from your opponent. I honestly, I don't mind going for it here.
Well, the thing is, you have Alex Straza.
You activate executes this way too.
Yeah. The thing is, yeah, you have Alex Straza, so maybe you just hold on to it. You know, just armor up, hit the face, then pass. It's a really tough decision because that's a lot of pressure. So they'd put 14, put 21 damage. So they put him down to, what, 11?
I think the big difference here is whether or not your opponent has executes, and that was a desperation brawl, or whether or not that was just outright a desperation brawl.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big difference, too. But I think this, you know, Simon Fraser's counting this up, and I guarantee you all 3 of them are going, this is 21 damage. Can we pass at 21 right now? They're going to take the conservative route. They want to tank up, put this armor completely out of reach of UCLA, save the scrum for a later time.
Yeah. Well, Bash and Sealed Slam does allow them to deal with this.
It's a lot to invest, though. I would venture to say Sylvanas is probably more adequate. Adequate play for this.
Yeah.
You know, this still kind of, you know, puts your opponent in a tough spot. They're not just free to do whatever they want here. But Simon Fraser may take this window to just go ahead and Alex Straza right here. Like, if you Alex Straza push 7, you know.
Your opponent's at 10 health.
Yeah. And then you have 14 sitting on board. Unless they have a way to fortify that position, they're just gone.
Yeah.
I think this is why they held on to the Grommish. Is, you know, say that UCLA didn't play Sylvanas here. Say it was just shield. Like, suddenly you're looking at an almost disastrous position.
Yeah.
At UCLA, they're going to have to tread carefully here. This game could very easily end if they misstep.
Yeah. And, I mean, they do have a lot of ways to block that combo. They also have Sylvanas on the board. So, you know, they could steal the Alex Straza. You bash the Dr. Boom, throw your Sylvanas in, boom, all of a sudden you have the Alex Straza yourself. They're also going to gain health. So Simon Fraser now, they have to look at a Sludge Belcher and say, can we get through this? The answer is no. Even if they could, they wouldn't have enough damage. This might be turning around a little bit.
Well, definitely, I would say this point definitely went over to UCLA afterwards. But, you know, that doesn't necessarily put them ahead, I don't think. I think this is more of an evening up the ground sort of thing. They still don't have the Justicar. They're starting to run light on removal. They do have to be mindful of their health in this situation, which is something you often never have to be mindful of in this matchup until the super late stages. Simon Fraser's hand just chock full of answers at the moment.
Yeah. So it looks like they're going to attack in here, most likely execute and then play Baron Geddon. Seems like the
Grom Dream is pretty much dead at this point. Like the Grom is, at this point, I think is likely to be used as almost a removal aspect, maybe a finisher.
Yeah.
But I actually like they're going for the Baron Geddon here instead of going for the Big Game Hunter, because this just puts another major threat on board. Like, this is going to continue to force UCLA to have the right answers. That's what I like about this play.
I was going to make another attempt at doing the Magni noise, but then I realized it's probably just going to come out like a whip again.
Over 2 for 2 on whips.
Actually 3 for 3 on whips. I did one, you know, silently to
snuck
myself
one
earlier.
in.
Yeah,
You're like testing it in your head. Still a whip. Why am I doing that? well, just as we said the Grom tree might be dead, Cruel Taskmaster opens up some more possibilities here.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden UCLA is starting to get a little bit out of range of that.
Well, it's true, but you know, you add a 5/5 to the board, and then you attack him for 3 with the Fiery War Axe. You know, you're looking at some potential here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, Magni disagrees. No potential there.
You never hear Magni say anything else. He just always like, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Why can't he say maybe?
Why are you so negative, Magni?
Yes. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and so I think that's the play they're looking at too, is the cumulative damage this adds up. So this sets them to potentially 19, which just so happens to be they have 20 in their hand if their opponent armors up and doesn't take care of their shield maiden.
Yeah, but UCLA draws into a card that they needed there.
Here's the thing though, you know, do you look at Ysera on this turn and go, you know what, this is a pretty darn appealing play?
Yeah. Because if they shield block, they might not draw into a thread. Okay, if they shield block and then play Baron Geddon with their Fiery War Axe to remove this, are they going to have enough? So they'll go down to 17 with the hits. They'll go down to 15. That's right in Fiery War Axe Grom range.
Oh my gosh.
And that is it.
What a finish to this game. They were not thinking about Grom and Cruel Taskmaster, and that's going to do it. And they know it.
Wow.
What a turnaround this game was. I mean, this game was teetering on the verge of completely snowballing one game or the other, and that's why it's so important to account for every single piece damage in this matchup, is because some massive numbers get put together very quickly once you reach this stage of the game.
Yeah.